Hi everyone. This is the third video in the series of video explanations of gaseous state booklet. The questions covered in this are from the FBO and the FBS section. The concept being covered is Graham's law of diffusion. So with this context, let's go ahead and discuss these questions one by one. So we'll start with the 30th question. Now, this is something that we have done in the class before, and the approach remains the same, that you start with the general form and then you interpret what is there on the left hand side and how you can simplify the right hand side based on the data that is given in the question. Once you do that, the remaining information is pretty straightforward. It is quite similar to examples that we have done in the class itself. Now, 31st question, it talks about which of the following pair of gases will diffuse at the same rate. So under identical conditions, if the gases have the same molecular weight, then their rate of diffusion will be same. Then 32nd question, right, in this you are being asked about the composition of the gases coming out, right? So the moles that got diffused, so the moles diffused out are going to be part of the rate expression, right? Moles diffused out upon time taken. That will be your left hand side interpretation. The right hand side can be simplified from P, A, T and M to just P and M, right? Because area of cross section and temperature are going to be same, right? Why have we taken P into account? Because different mole composition is given initially, right? Since partial pressure of a gas is directly proportional to its moles. So if the mole composition is different, then the partial pressure will also be different. Keeping this in mind, we divide the rate of the two gases and substitute the data that is given in the question. With this, we get that the T term cancels out because it is the same time duration, same initial time duration in which the gas is coming out. And as a result, we get the ratio of the moles that came out, right? And this will be the composition as well. Then 33rd question, my bad. Now, 33rd question is something that you can answer subjectively. Given the fact that molecular weight of ammonia is lesser than HCl, ammonia gas will travel more distance than HCl in the same time duration. So the white fumes, they will appear, the white fumes are because of the formation of NH4Cl. Okay, so it is the meeting point of the two gases. So that meeting point will be closer to the HCl end than the NH3 end, because NH3 would have traveled more distance. Then 34th question is again something that we have discussed in class, that given the concept or given the separation based on diffusion technique, we understand if the ratio of molecular weight, okay, यहाँ पे understand the fact that the difference between molecular weight does not matter. Okay, the ratio should be higher. The ratio of molecular weight of comparing the gases should be higher. This will result in better separation. Then 35th question is straightforward, a simple application of the formula itself, since there are no factors of pressure, temperature, area mentioned. So we take all of them to be same. Then 36th question is similar to the 31st question that we did, that if the molecular weight is identical, then the gas will have the same rate of diffusion, cannot be separated by the diffusion technique. Right. Then 37th question, in this the density data is given, and since molecular weight and density are proportional to each other, right, for same pressure comma temperature conditions, we can write the rate of diffusion in terms of the density also. So the ratio will become equal to root d2 by d1. So O2 gas should diffuse root 5 times faster than Br2 gas. Then 38th question might sound confusing to begin with, but the answer is simple, that inside the balloon, there is moist air, and outside there will be dry air, right? Now, since the molecular weight of moist air or humid air is less than dry air, right? The gas from inside will travel faster. So net, you will see that the gases are going to come out. If I take into account gas that is going out and coming in, the net will be going out, and as a result, the size of the balloon will shrink. Now, if you are contemplating that why molecular weight of moist air is lesser than that of dry air, then this is something that got covered in mole concept chapter, but I'll still give a quick idea about it. That dry air is N2 and O2. Okay. While moist air, how will moist air be formed? We will replace some of N2 or O2. Okay, we'll replace some of N2 or O2 and add H2O. Right. Now, if you will notice the molecular weight of N2, right? If you will notice the molecular weight of these gases, N2 is 28, O2 is 32, and water vapor is just 18. So if from dry air sample, okay, if I'm removing a heavier gas, some part of a heavier gas, say N2 or O2, and replacing it with a lighter gas, which is H2O, then obviously the molecular weight will come down. Okay, the mixture ka molecular weight is going to come down. So that is why the moist air is lighter than the dry air. Okay, it has got lesser molecular weight, so it will travel faster, and as a result, the balloon will shrink. Then 39th question is a straightforward question, something that we did in the class. We again start with the general expression. We interpret the left-hand side, and then we simplify the right-hand side, and then substitute the values. All right, 40th question is something in which you'll have to understand things in a step-by-step manner. Say initially the vessel is open and hot. Since it is open, the pressure is equal to external pressure, that is atmospheric pressure. Now you close the vessel. Okay, आपने just lid लगा दिया ऊपर, so there is no change in the pressure as such. It is still the same. P is equal to P ATM, and now you let it cool. Okay, it was hot only, but now you let it cool because the temperature comes down. Okay, N and V are constant. Okay, because now it is a closed vessel. The volume is not changing, the moles are not changing, and temperature comes down, right? So pressure also comes down. So pressure will become less than atmospheric pressure. So what will happen is that there will be a pressure difference that will be created inside and outside. Outside pressure will be more, inside pressure will be less. So as a result, there is a net force on the lid, which helps it seal the container better. All right, then let's talk about the 17th question from the FBS section. So we are done with the FBO section. Let's talk about the FBS section. In FBS section also the questions are from the Graham's law only. Now the first question is again based on the general form. The interpretation of the left hand side will be in terms of the distance diffused upon time taken, and the right hand side we'll have to take pressure as well as molecular weight into account. We'll have to simplify it because pressure is given different, partial pressure of the gases. And then you just substitute the formula and get the answer. Then in the 18th question, it is, as I said, that molecular weight of a gas is directly proportional to the density. So at given temperature pressure conditions. So since nothing is mentioned about temperature and pressure conditions, we take them to be constant, and as a result, we can write the ratio of the rates to be inversely proportional to the square root of the density as well. So you substitute the data and get the answer of the density of ozone gas. Then 19th question, again, nothing mentioned about pressure and temperature. So you take the dependency of rate of diffusion on the inverse of square root of molecular weight, and then you substitute the results directly. 20th question is again a good question. It is similar to the question that we have done before, wherein when we talk about the simplification of the right hand side, we have to take into account pressure and molecular weight. Temperature and area is something which is constant. So as a consequence, if we take the ratio of the rates, it is the ratio of the partial pressure multiplied by the inverse of the square root of molecular weight. Now we go on to further simplify. We write the ratio of the partial pressures, or we can replace the ratio of the partial pressure with the ratio of the moles. Why? Because the partial pressure is directly proportional to moles, right? Now we can use the concept that moles is equal to mass upon molecular weight, right? So instead of N1, I wrote M1 by molecular weight, and N2, I wrote M2, that is the mass divided by its molecular weight. So I'm able to, oh, my bad, just a second. Now as a consequence, I'm able to separate the mass terms on one side and the molecular weight terms on the other side, right? So I got mass, this is something which is given in the question itself, right? That the mass is in the ratio of 2:3, and the rate of diffusion is also given as 1:4. So from this, I got the ratio of the molecular weight. Molecular weight 2 upon molecular weight 1 is equal to 3/8 raised to the power of 2/3. Right? I hope you understood the power calculation here. That it is M2 by M1 raised to the power of 1, and it is M2 by M1 raised to the power of half. So if you multiply them, it becomes a power of 3/2. Right? And then you take this power on the other side, it becomes 2/3, and you get the ratio of the molecular weight. However, this is not the answer. This is not being asked in the question. The question asks the ratio of the mole fraction. Now, the ratio of the mole fraction will be the ratio of their moles, right? And since moles is mass upon molecular weight, so I substituted it here itself, that N1 as M1 upon capital M1, and moles are mass upon molecular weight, right? So since this is again given in the question, that the ratio of the mass is 2/3, and molecular weight is something, the ratio of the molecular weight is something that I found out from the previous calculation. I substitute over here and simplify it. It takes a little time to make it equal to what is given in the question. But yeah, once you do that simplification, you will get the answer that this is equal to 1 upon 24 raised to the power of 1/3. So the calculation part is a bit challenging in the end as well. All right, then 21st question. Again, a good question. In this, you have been given 3 gases and their ratio to be compared. So the only challenge that comes in this question is that how are you able to compare the 3 gases and their ratio? So this is there is a slight bit of more maths involved than the previous examples. Okay. The starting part remains the same, that you start with the general form, right? You interpret the left hand side and you simplify the right hand side based on the data that is given in the question. Since the mass is given different, the moles will be different, and as a result, the partial pressure is also going to be different for different gases. So that is why I have taken partial pressure also into account as a factor. Okay. A and T, I have merged them in the proportionality constant because they are not going to be different for the gases. Now, since partial pressure is proportional to moles, I replaced P by N, right? And since moles is equal to mass upon molecular weight, like I did in the previous example, I replace the moles by mass and molecular weight. So I got the ratio or I got the dependency of rate in terms of mass and molecular weight, right? Why did I do this? Why did I go from pressure to moles to mass, right? Because data given in the question is of mass. Okay? If you read the question data, they have given that the weight ratio of the gases is given to you. So somehow I have to get the information in terms of the data that is given in the question. So once I got this, then I can write the ratio. The ratio of the rate of diffusion will be in the ratio of these of this expression for each gas, right? So this is the way in which I have written. Now the ratio of mass is given, right? M1 is to M2 is to M3 is given as 4:3 is to 1. 4:2 is to 1. And then the molecular weight is something which I know by GK because I have been given the gases. They are methane, oxygen, and sulfur dioxide. So these are their molecular weights. Once this is there, then it is all a matter of simplification. Then it's a little bit of maths to simplify this. All right, then 22nd question is a very simple, straightforward question. In this also 3 gases are being compared, but 2 at a time. So rather than in this where the comparison is in one go, one equation itself, here they have taken 3 gases and compared them 2 at a time. So first they have taken X and Y and given information about them, and then they have given information about Y and Z. So I have written the equations for X and Y comparison and Y Z comparison. Now if I multiply the two, the molecular weight of Y cancels out and I get the ratio of the molecular weight of Z and Y. And since the molecular weight of Z is given, I can simply calculate the molecular weight of Y. You could have done the same thing in the 21st question if you did not, kind of get the comfort with this method of solving the things in one line itself, right? Up two at a time below, right? You first take gas 1 and gas 2, unka ratio lo. With gas 2 and gas 3 or unka ratio lo, and then arrive at a simplified result. That is also something that can be done if you are not comfortable with dealing with 3 gases at a time. All right, so I think this concludes the homework discussion. Thank you so much.